We have everybody here.
I think to start at the very beginning, we'll probably just approve last minutes in August.
Last minute on performance. Excellent. And awesome. So the minutes are good.
Thank you so much. All right, well, welcome everybody. Thanks for being here today. As Michael Babbitt, I was telling you earlier this morning that we have 9 projects, 3 great projects in the works. None of them are ready this month. We expect those to come in November, December, and January, but that leaves us plenty of time today to work with Lawrence and Rick here on the comprehensive plan update that they're working on. The team for the last, it's close to 3 years now, right? They've been working on this project, this update, and what we want you guys to focus in on today are the urban design components of that plan through an interactive workshop that Lawrence will help explain in a second. Our first and current land use policies were established with the adoption of the Florida Dallas plan in 2006. So it's been a while. And we're ready for that update. Of the 40 urban action items in that plan, only 7 have been substantially or successfully completed. And to better reflect the changing needs of our community objectives. This update will establish a set of urban design principles for Dallas that form the urban framework plan and place back restrictions to the plan. They will ultimately help guide future efforts to develop context-sensitive urban design guidelines, inform our development code update. We're currently just beginning, and elevate urban design considerations, the development review process, future neighborhood and capital planning efforts. With all that, I'll Lawrence and Rick to walk you through this workshop.
Awesome. So thank you all so much for attending. I'm really honored that you all are available to talk through the urban design component of Fort Dallas. So I'm going to be seated here because the plug is here over here, but you can also look on the side. That one's going to be probably faster to click through the slides. This might have a little bit of lag, but we're still streaming that information to those who tune in. So before we get started, I want to do a quick introduction for the project team. So I'm Lawrence Dubuque, Chief Planner within Urban Design within Arturo's department. I'm the project manager for Dallas. I've been doing this, I guess, for about 3 years. We're also consulting with a few experts in the urban design land use side of things. So if you all know Rick Meisner, Norris Designer, he's part of the project team as well. The prime is actually Aldo Levine, and they're based in Chicago. So they're helping us with the land use perspective of the plan, and then Norris and his helping us with urban design perspective. So just kind of this quick overview for the team. I mentioned urban design. We are the department manager from the city side, and the consultancy, Aldo Levine, Norris, tool designer, doing transportation model piece. And HMEs, there are engagements, specialists, sort of helping us with that as well. So in addition to the project team, we also have a few different committees that's helping guide us through this process. So the fact that we're able to come before you all to get another dimension of analysis, we're going to go for that. So we have our technical review committee. They're basically comprised of city staff, local agencies, the art, the county. And then we have the CLUP, the Comprehensive Land Use Planning Committee. They are comprised of just experts within the city, related from social equity to infrastructure, so even architecture, design, and education. They're all part of that team looking at our plan and providing us comments from a holistic point of view. So for today, we're going to assume that no one is perfect for Dallas. Yes, but we're glad you're here today. We have lots to discuss. We're going to break this up into 3 chunks. The first chunk is an overview of Fort Dallas, talk through the process, the timeline, major components of the plan. we're going to delve into the urban design theme, the different themes in the project, and we plan that sets the table for what Fort Dallas is looking to achieve through land use. And then we're going to have a quick discussion about what we just presented. So what we want to do is kind of break this up to chunks and have a conversation so that everybody's on the same page. What we want to do after that, the next part of that is talk about the place type of these boards that you see here. You represent different types of places in the city. So we're going to talk about the description for each of those and what those mean for our future land use map. And then the final part of this exercise is going to be actually going through these boards, providing input into the renderings, the urban design elements, and how to describe these places in the city. So as we go through this, that's kind of our general schedule, about an hour and a half. If we go longer, shorter, you all determine how much conversation we have to do that. Yes. We record. Yes, so as you all provided input for us, we're basically doing input in crafting, updating these boards. So we're going to go through the process of an example, the exercise that you provide that helps shape the language that we have here, the imagery that we have here. We want to make sure that we get your perspective, your expertise related to urban design that helps implement it in the city. So thank you.
But also are we reporting on the standards, the remarks?
Yes. So we have a conversation, I believe that reporter or excuse as a pick up the recording.
And it's going to be posted on our website like all our.
Right. So, overview, I just want to talk about what Fort Dallas, why we're updating the plan, the priorities process. Fort Dallas is future land use plan for the city, which guides development and how the city should look like. It's important to note that 20 years ago, when we had the first comprehensive land use plan, there were a few things that were good about that plan. It was the first kind of visionary document, but it didn't provide clarity related to land use in the city and what needs to happen for each parcel. So what we're doing for this particular update is making sure that there's a clear vision throughout the entire city, and we're able to use the same language throughout the entire city in terms of talking about future land use and the image that we want to see in the city moving forward. So the important to note, too, going back to the initial Fort Dallas plan, 2006, there are different elements that we call it that are part of that plan. So over time, for example, there was a housing component, there was a transportation component, utility component, and a use component. Over time, from 2006 now, other plans within the city updated those individual elements, except the land use one and the urban design element. So since 2006, those haven't been reflected in what's happening on the ground now. It's important to note too, from 2006 to now, things that have happened on the ground of the city of Dallas, Uber, in terms of transportation, how that's going to change, the housing crisis that's changed, in terms of how people Airbnb, how that's changed. A lot of things related to land use, how the city runs, hasn't reflected or changed based on the time what we've seen in that time span. So what we want to do is make sure that the land use and the urban design language and policies are catching up to speed in terms of what we see on the ground in the city today. So another view of what we're updating is the next 25 years, we're expected to grow by 300,000 people in the city. That's equivalent of the city of Plano in the city of Dallas. That's also the city of, I believe, St. Louis as well. So being able to anticipate and prepare for that exponential growth in the city is critical to be able to know where density should occur, where infrastructure from the transportation perspective should occur as well. It helps us to guide future development and provide predictability for the city moving forward. Also, too, like I mentioned, other plans have come through. The CCAC Climate Environmental Comprehensive Environmental Climate Action Plan, Mobility Plan, and also the Economic Development Policy. We want to make sure that we are running in line with what they're saying, they're recommending through their policy documents, and make sure that we're up to speed with that as well. And then lastly, from a land use perspective, over the history of the city of Dallas, there's been a lot of inequitable land use practices in terms of one, industrial sites being located by residential sites, affecting means of color. So what we're doing with this particular plan is identifying those locations in the city, making sure that juxtaposition of land uses for residential and industrial mix are really occurring throughout the city. So that's a huge component of what we're doing is making sure that those inequalities from a land use perspective does not exist on our map.
It's interesting fact you want here growth 300,000 people by 2045. Do we know, do the department have a understanding of where exactly or see where this growth is going to happen? There's a lot of vacant land in the south, right? The growth seems to be going north, right? We understand how we anticipate that growth.
Yeah, it's a great question. So for those online, so when we're doing this analysis in terms of where growth is occurring, we use NCT data and they identify that by parcel. So basically, depending on different parts of growth, kind of hotspots that they see from the transportation side of things, they're able to identify where that growth would be. So generally, in the city, like you mentioned, a lot of revenue up north, but a lot of that growth is actually going to be happening in the south. So in the next 20, 25 years, a lot of focus is going to be at how do we elevate Southern Dallas to be able to be a nexus for that growth as well. With a few different spots that also are on that map. And the field that's another hot spot. I think also West Dallas, that's another hot spot. Redbird is also kind of a medium hot spot. So generally, in terms of what's happening south of the Trinity, that's where the growth hot spot where it's going to be that line. Feel free as you're having a conversation, just like asking questions, asking time at the end too. But as we're going through this, please just use that. All right. So as we are looking at those previous policies, in our conversation been focused on urban design. I want to just take a quick inventory of the urban design guidelines and guidance that we have in the city. On the screen, we're looking at the Port Dallas 2006 policy. Within that particular document, it talks about the different types of ways that we want to address density and how physical places are developed. That's still part of urban design policy. Looking back at that plan, it's a little bit harder to implement what is mentioned in there. There's a lot of content, but not a really good way of implementing those ideas. That was one of the cons of the plan. A few other ones that you all might know, pretty familiar with is urban design guidelines. That was adopted in 2017. We have our TIP design guidelines, which is the majority of the projects we see here that go through those TIP districts. The funding and the requirements are for them to come before this body gets into direction two. And then our complete streets design manual is also another citywide guide that we have. We have these on the books. It's a comprehensive package way of understanding how urban design should behave. So one of the takeaways we want to have through Fort Dallas, setting the table for a comprehensive urban design guidelines that happens at Fort Dallas. We're going to be doing for our conversation. We're going to talk about the different themes and principles that Fort Dallas is trying to set up, and that's going to help to set the table for something that will be hopefully developed after Fort Dallas that helps guide urban design for more comprehensive subject.
Did you say that the TIP guidelines were developed?
2017.
Okay.
17, I'm sure.
Probably a little bit earlier. Probably 2017. It's
All right, so where are we in the process? So we mentioned before, we've been at this for about 3 years, started in fall of 21, and the hope is to get this plan adopted in early 2024. So we're currently in the process of asking the community members to review the plan, provide comments to us. We've had 2 workshops like this throughout the city, where we have come in and provided input on not just the images, but the themes, and also letting us know the priority for those themes in the plan document. What we are now is review the plan document. We have published the first version. We're probably going to be publishing 2 more drafts. One probably mid-November, another one probably early 2024. So if we go forward that, I'm going to be presenting the content to City Plan Commission, and also to council, hopefully by March of 2024. All right, so this is going to be what we basically, as we should say, it's going to be kind of key, recurring throughout all the slides I showed. Is that the major components of this plan encompasses kind of four major aspects: land use themes, place type descriptions. We'll talk about what place types are. Place map, which is our future land use map, and implementation plan. So those touch on the purpose and the why of the plan, the what are we looking at, what are we trying to describe and develop, where in the city are things to develop, and how should these place types interface with different parts of the city, and then how, when, who, basically who's going to help to move some of these ideas forward, which should that occur, and what's the process of getting that to move forward with the document. It's important to note too that urban design is integral in every part of this document. You know, it's a land use plan. It's incredibly critical that we're able to talk through the importance of urban design, the themes, the descriptions, how that plays on geographically, how it gets implemented after it's adopted. All right, so we have any questions so far? There's a lot of stuff we're going to be talking through a lot of this too, because we're going to make sure we're on the same page. So if it's not clear, please raise your hand and say, hey, this is not. All right, cool. So the urban design piece, like I mentioned before, this is that first plan component that we're going to delve into. The 4 house plan has 5 themes that we're going to be unpacking, but for today we're focused on the urban design theme. That's what your expertise is on. That's what we need feedback from. We've had over from an engagement side, those themes have come from input from the community. So the last 3 years, we've had 20,000+ interactive visits, 100,000 in-person participants, 7,000 unique online users, over 1,500 net comments, and 200 in-person events. So we've gone out, so we've gone out and done a lot of engagement to make sure that the vision that the community would like to see, that we're spot on with that on this map. So on the far left of this, kind of show the bubble diagram, all the inputs that we received, you kind of color coded those and codify those into some categories. Those are kind of led to this word cloud where we kind of see mobility, housing, community, and complete street design, quality of life. Those are all the issues that bubbled up and rose to the top through our 3-year conversation. And then that led to the 5 overarching themes that we're going to be talking about in this frame, the plan document for Dallas. I mentioned before, urban design is going to be one we focus on, but others that we have here include environmental justice, housing accessibility, economic development, revitalization, transit-oriented development, and connectivity, and then, of course, urban design. All right, so with community urban design, this particular theme, our recent link to the plan document, and those who looked at it beforehand, this is just going to be a quick summary of those particular strands and content in there. We'll have after we're doing this meeting, this workshop, please feel free to send us any comments after you do look at the document. We want to say that it's there for you to continue the dialogue with us related to what we're trying to talk through and express through for Dallas in particular. So for the community urban design theme, the theme goal is to establish context-sensitive design and developing guidance to help shape Dallas streets, sidewalks, buildings, open spaces to create functional, safe, and active spaces that reflect and enhance Dallas's distinct places. So that was developed from a combination of community input, feedback from our design team, and also feedback from our consultant. What we want to do too, as we're talking with you all, is actually help us to also craft and refine and review this as well. So as we look at this on the screen, I want to keep this here for a second. As you have your notepads on your desk, So if any notes that you think that you can add to this, I want to see the conversation and also to those who prefer to just kind of think, on pieces of paper, we have that on your desk to do that. Every theme that we have here has a goal, and every goal has 3 to 4 objectives that we're looking to address through those themes. So this one that we have here, number 1 is want to establish a citywide urban design framework. So like I mentioned before, post-war Dallas want to basically set the table for an urban design framework that helps guide city development and design over time. 2, want to integrate urban design standards and guidance into the development review process for future planning efforts. So now, what really happens when we see a project, it's something concrete that we look at. We use best practices. We use kind of institutional knowledge that we have within the city, which is great. But having something that's concrete and uniform throughout all the projects we review is something that we think is important. And then thirdly, we'll strengthen the sense of place and community identity for all of the Dallas. So you can go to different parts of Dallas and you say, I live in Oak Cliff, and that can mean plethora of different things, different people. So we want to be able to, one, strengthen that community identity, and also to make that clear in terms of what are we talking about in the city and what does that imply moving forward. Any questions on this slide so far?
Well, actually, there's going to be a lot of parts and pieces in that framework. I mean, we're talking about setbacks, height regulations, access, the relationship.
That's the point of it. Awesome. That's a great point. So with this particular Fort Dallas plan, we'll be going into the minutia of the setback, the heights, etc. That's going to be what happens post Fort Dallas. This is only setting the table for uniform understanding of what the priority should be. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
A question just related to that, is the enforceability. Right. That's one thing that I see that this board struggles with. Is that they have great suggestions, but the enforceability of that, with the overall plan that's going, does that then go into very tight restrictions and enforceability from the development, or is it more of a suggestion?
All right, so this is a great question. So the Fort Dallas plan is more guidance. It was more high level. What it's at the table for is zoning code updates and urban design creation. That is documents, zoning, and the urban design guidance that we're looking for after this. So we want to make sure that we have that base level understanding from the use perspective before we can start to build upon as well. Go back to kind of the mechanism in the state of Texas. You can't use a comp plan to enforce zoning. So we have to basically have it in general in nature, just because that's what the law says, but zoning enforces that vision. So we're also, as we're doing this for that land use plan, we're also updating, we're going to be updating zoning code actually simultaneously right now. We have another consultant that's actually starting that process now. So as we can complete this project in 2024, we're going to take the time to continue the development of what we developed from a vision standpoint, update the policies that enforce this land use. Good question.
Thank you.
That's awesome. And lastly, within this particular section, I just want to touch on some of the major themes that have come out from our analysis, our investigations, previous studies, previous analysis, previous work within the city. These are the 6 that rose to the top based on that research. So one, advance the physical design of public realm by integrating citywide initiatives with local community values. 2, want to build sustainable Dallas to improve the quality of life with a focus on equity, the natural environment, and vitality. 3, develop a balanced multimodal mobility network that creates a safe and well-connected city. 4, maximize the contribution of each public space to seamlessly direct together the built environment. 5, development should celebrate distinct built and natural assets to help strengthen each community's health, vitality, and identity. And then 6, unify the design of buildings, open space, and streetscapes to enhance experience. Yes.
So, one word that I was looking for, I don't see is, resiliency. As you're thinking about these, big picture principles, I think you ought to think about resiliency now that we're seeing so many severe weather events. I think it's important to consider that as well.
So that makes sense. The follow to in terms of when you say resiliency, I feel like this is kind of a define. How do you define resiliency in urban design perspective?
Well, thinking about structures and spaces that can survive, if you will, some of the weather events that we're dealing with. So sustainable Dallas, or maybe it's sustainable.
I also, Norm's not here, but I think one of the things we struggle with is historic preservation.
Right.
And I think that should be acknowledged in some way in those principles.
Definitely.
Lawrence, I don't wanna,
Yeah.
something about resiliency also that kind of rings true is also resiliency in terms of, long-term adaptability to limits. Right now, office buildings are working for residential, adaptation that needs to be other things to be done is about, especially.
Arguably,
And no level of resiliency, as I pointed out, resiliency almost supersedes sustainability. It is almost broader. I think we can say that the broader term is beyond sustainability. Sustainability, I think, is something that should be done no matter what, but it's not even part of the discussion. But resiliency is the next box, right? That we have to should be forward.
So this was the kind of last time of this section. I think we're going to open the conversation about any questions on what we just provided presented. It's the first section about the themes, overarching principles, and kind of setting the framework for the content of the lesson talk through. So if we have any other additional kind of questions, comments, some kind of topics.
I guess one thing when we talk about urban design, so much urban design is related to mobility and street. I know that's the question that you guys are talking about. Is there any crossover in the document that is sort of linking this together? Because everything in urban design is really very linked. Just think about that if you get time.
100%. So, previous life, I was a business transportation planner, so knowing that many uses of transportation, so we're dealing with not just these descriptions here of the transportation component, the land use has to have a combination of our complete streets integrated to that. So we're doing with our transportation department, we're identifying those complete street typologies linked with our land uses, so that we can feedback from different stakeholders about what the parts of the city should look like. And might affect the current street designation, so making those matches as well. And then also, we're going to also update or make necessary to update of the third so after this gets updated, we need to do the update and a framework. This is going to talk through the density of increases where you're going to focus on activity out of the city. Okay, so with that, everybody's good. So just make sure. All right, that was a lot of content. We want to make sure we're all on the same page. So we'll just talk through discussion. We're going to kind of pivot now to talking about place types. So we look at the board on here. These individual images, we'll kind of show on the screen to represent different types of places that exist in the city. What we've done, most other land use comp plans is that we, instead of identifying each land use and saying this land use does this, these places have a combination of land uses that contribute to that kind of place. So we'll go through that, kind of what that means. But for example, residential neighborhood. That's going to include not just single family homes, but a church, a small little restaurant, a place of shopping. That's part of a neighborhood type. So we describe those types of things and how that's critical to what we're discussing moving forward. So going back to the plan that we mentioned, looking at now what and where of these districts in the city. So like I mentioned before, so a place sign represents a holistic, big picture vision for a community or place that incorporates a design based on land uses, design, function, and intensity. So we have on the screen 12 different types of places, and we're having conversations with our other committees. Some of these places are actually might combine into one place. We might add another one. For example, we have a traditional residential neighborhood and a blended residential neighborhood. So what we've heard from our community is that although there's a suburban type of neighborhood that's in the city, there's more of maybe a pre-war type of development that's in the city. Every ward in the city should be incorporating growth and density and development. So the idea of combining those is to make sure that everyone in the city, no matter if you're a single family, kind of more quote unquote traditional suburban neighborhood or more blended mixed neighborhood, they are all going to be able to incorporate housing, which is another one of the things that we're looking for within 4 Dallas.
So to that, I was interested, what is the difference in you guys delineate the difference between industrial and flex commercial? The reason I said looking at this map, there's some areas that I would think are very much industrial,
Right.
but they're showing us flex commercial. So just to know that how you're delineating.
Not no point. So in 2006, when Dallas basically identified a lot of the city as industrial, and the issue with that, the proximity to neighborhoods, that was an issue. So the flex commercial, the intent behind that is one, all heavy industrial uses that exist in the city, and also serving as a place for transitioning away from industrial uses in the whole urban community. So, typically, right now, that place incorporates small light industrial places, but also too, if it's by residential place sites, the policy that we has to add more industrial to that.
Okay, so this is a recommendation in my future land use. These places have to limit other uses next to the residential.
Exactly. Move forward. Right. So after this is adopted, so case comes in on build a large warehouse by the community. They look at this and say, based on guidance, I'm not going to do it. Yeah.
There's very specific situations that happen in the city of Saturday.
Exactly. That's exactly why it's pretty problems that we need to address all that kind of incompatibility that exists in the state. So right now we have 2 industrial place sites, that's commercial, which is more focused on moving away from industry, more like a think about right.
Absolutely.
It's more like the design district before, you know, like this commercial kind of. And also too, have a conversation about maybe adding another logistic place site that's focused more on warehouses and distribution logistics. So that's something we're talking through. The only issue with that is that it might be a very minor subset of the city. It might only be 1 or 2 uses. One has to be multiple uses that invite a place, not just one type of city. So, yeah, very much.
And so, after earlier, also was more about over time. Or then to the point about whether these are recommendations or rules, will this be really by zoning
Yes.
changes?
Yes.
Okay, so that they can't build, it's not just their.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right, that's a great question. So how this should work in most cities that actually have a use map, that determines or guides what some of the pieces look like. To feel have that amazing screen as the building comes in.
Yeah.
If there was some need to that is kind of normal. So having this on the ground is going to be a new thing for the city to kind of say, oh, we have to actually look at this plan, determine if zoning makes sense here. Move forward.
Great. Okay, thank you.
One other question. Long term,
Yes.
I think that's these are hooks to Harvard. to administer that area, you might have 500 different keys. Right. Will this help long-term clean that up to where you have better rules standards where everybody that comes in doesn't have a key? Because it's really hard to have to administer all that.
That's going back to what you said too, so right, because one, we don't have a future land use map, the zoning that we have in the books doesn't refer to it.
Right.
So the zoning we have here is actually this piecemeal kind of a monster that's become like so unusable. People create their own zoning because the zoning is so bad. So as we develop this particular set of guidance, our notes is coming in on this zoning piece, and hopefully kind of clean that up to match this before stuff. That's the biggest project that the city does is that zoning reform. So this basically took 2-3 years. That's what it takes. 2 or maybe even more because there's so much there. It's law. So that's a great question. Yes.
Zoning reform. We gotta be giving up what and it's when you hear about how do you see added medical city such.
And so as we have these meetings in the community, we actually have one-on-one meeting with every council member, all 3 council member, and they are for this. They want to push this because it does a few things. It provides predictability about what happens in the city. It also helps with this process in zoning cases, like right now, because you go through a PE. PE is a custom zoning. So every time you go to an analysis, you have to read through the language every time to kind of understand what's happening. That takes away from staff to actually do other things. So maybe they don't want to see that move forward because they want to get the development happening, making it more efficient from a staff perspective, and also from the equal perspective. When we have that clarity of what's happening, when staff processes cases quicker, more people, I mean, they want to do the best. They don't feel like they have to go to other parts of those cities. They're quicker and more efficient at that. And there's other things too that are ways that kind of move all over other parts of the city. Amazing that that's one of the works.
Don't you anticipate any opposition? And if so, who will be?
No, to be honest, like the only option that we've seen is actually now. So what we expected, so that we can designate for parts that we certain things in the future. We want to be, we want to say, residential, we want to do this, this, and that. So we actually pretty good at like reflecting what those desires are. I mean, also weighing that with the economic or sustainable practices that we have in the city. So for the most part, that's probably going to be the biggest question. Everybody wants to see this because it's going to help them know what's to expect when the development comes in. So right now, you mentioned like south of 20 warehouse being developed by a church. Because the zoning says that's okay, and this kind of the 2006 version of this had that as being a industrial as well. It's kind of just by right we go through. So I think having this on the books as soon as possible and set the table down by some certified in the city hall. So, great question. All right, so what we're going to do, so each of these place types that we have on the board, we're going to kind of quickly talk through them. And just kind of set the table in terms of what's in these, and my colleague Rick will also kind of jump in kind of describe those elements. So what I'm going to do is talk through these renderings, kind of the quick description and the purpose. And that's going to help us understand what we're looking for you all to help us with as we kind of engage you all in expertise on developing some critical, very critical inputs into all these boards. So we have 12 place types of this in the city. I want to talk about go from like least dense kind of the more dense, the more industrial focused one, and not going to read all this in depth. I want to get a quick idea overview of what these are, so to understand what these are focused. So one, regional open space. That's more of a larger, great infrastructure for the city. Talking about parks, talking about rivers, streams. They are natural kind of backbone of the city. It helps the city to breathe in terms of providing a place to go recreate. It's the city core provides ecological preserve that natural environment. These are larger in nature, so when we look at regional space, we're not talking about small parks, we're talking about more larger networks, so spaces, open spaces that we have in the city.
Yeah, one thing to add, once in the document, these renderings are kind of offset with the existing images that are a little bit more contextual data.
That's great. So yes, these images that we have here, so as we look through them, what we want you to do is help us kind of just scrutinize them. That's what we want to do things. As the city moves forward with the vision of what the city should look like, there are some parts of the city that embody some of these play sites, and there are some that don't. So what we wanted to do is kind of create a kind of neutral rendering that kind of embodies that, but it's based on the model and the tools that we use, some of the buildings, some of the actual outputs might not look as realistic as we want to address. So as we all look at the images, as we go through our exercise, kind of take that into consideration, but also still want to get that feedback that, hey, maybe you can think about adding a corridor or some kind of trail here to kind of emphasize any of these comments that we have.
Can we make a comment space now?
So yeah, so we have walk through.
Such
No. No, so we're going to basically quickly go through this, and then we'll kind of split to kind of talk through how to.
Do you want their input item by item when you go through, or do you want to wait?
So we'll wait.
Okay.
So we're going to go over this, and I think what we can do too is what I wanted to do. I want to kind of have you all actually kind of interact with each other and talk to the boards. I know sitting down for an hour or two might not be the best, but let me know if that it's okay. Kind of talk through 10 minutes of this. And we can,
Yeah, of course.
you know,
I understand it's one of the places that really body, right? I like the flavor about the rendering, right? People see here, you know, we've never built anything like that, but it's a program that has address those in the next round.
we are getting comments from you all, consider that consulted, and based on the program they use to develop these, going to hopefully address the comments, those graphical items. All right, so the second place on this the small town residential. This is basically the rural residential neighborhood that we see in mostly the parts of southeast Dallas. That part of Dallas is annexed in the city, and over time, because of the distance from actually city core, the development hasn't occurred down there as it has here. A lot of more green agricultural spaces. But as we engage that community, they want to keep that rural nature in that part of town because it's a unique part of the city and there's a unique feel that we have there. So there's a lot of separation between buildings, agricultural uses predominant in that area. So this is kind of the second place that we're looking at.
So we can refer to that on this map, that's here, so we can see where you're.
Correct. Yes. So third, traditional residential. This is the more standard coastal boards neighborhood that we have. That's comprised of curvilinear streets, a mix of typically mostly single family, but we have a mix of duplexes, townhomes in this area. Trails and transit help pedestrians and users go throughout the space, but predominantly vehicular in nature. So that's traditional residential place that we have. Yes.
Do you know yet what percentage of the city is made up of this place back on the map so far?
Yeah, so we're good at analysis now because every week we talk about results and consulting our committee. They want to change place size here and there. So for the most part, traditional residential makes up about 65% of the area of the city. I think about 47 is one of the things. It's a large. Right, it's a large. Yes. So for the most part, in the city, that's part of the part that's not. It's going to be staying, not seeing anything from traditional residential to like commercial. That's usually dangerous.
From what you said, you see this predominant type of stuff right now in the city of Dallas.
Yes.
Is there a map that shows what the current?
Yes and no. So there's the current land use map that shows actually more detail of what that shows. So in the city, like I mentioned, each parcel has a activity or land use designation. We have that map that shows what each parcel is doing from a land use perspective. This particular map shows the vision of what the future looks like that incorporates multiple land uses. So, for example, you have a parcel here on this map that shows residential, that includes single family, that includes maybe a church, that includes different types of uses that could be embodied into that. But our existing land use map has every parcel with its specific land use identified. So in terms of comparing that to this particular map, we've actually kind of a little cross analysis to kind of see the shift. And what we've seen through that shift is a lot of the traditional, a lot of the industrial uses, it's actually kind of reducing in nature and kind of shifting throughout the city and becoming more like commercial in nature because a lot of people want to transition away from industrial and have something more long term for their economic growth. Good point.
Yeah. So the traditional neighborhood, traditional residential, right? Lifestyle designation would include having, say, for instance, a corner grocery store in that.
Right. Yes, you can. So the traditional residential would include a corner grocery store, could include a right here, could include a church. The predominant place is the traditional neighborhood. There are parts of the map that we identify as certain commercial corridors, windows, corridors. Those we identify in that kind of emphasize that this node or this corridor is something we want to see developed. Okay. So next we captured land residential. So I mentioned before, through conversation with the community, the previous residential and this one, they're actually going to get blended into one place type. The reason for that is this right now, this particular place type takes over about 8% of the land use in the city. And because of that, it's not too much of a huge stretch to kind of put that together. Two things that occurred during our conversation. So just residential, from the community feedback, a lot of people assume that if we were identifying a community as residential, it was going to be status quo, there's going to be no development, it's going to stay the same. But through all these place types, we're trying to be pretty clear that every place is going to incorporate type of housing, ADUs, townhomes, duplexes, multiplexes, but the traditional residential name, I want to keep that because I want to change. So what we're going to be doing is actually merging traditional residential with residential into one place type. We're going to call that community residential. And then in that particular place type, we're going to talk through the different kind of forms that exist. So the feedback that you provided to us today is still going to help guide how we represent that graphically and how we talk about them textually as well.
Yes, is schools being thought about. It's wondering.
Right.
So how are studies behind how all of these are affecting?
Right. So this, no, definitely. So each of these place types usually has schools within it. So a school isn't a school is an activity, isn't so these kind of describe neighborhood types.
Okay.
So that would include schools, etc. So that's going to be part of the use mix that's part of each of these places.
Okay.
So this doesn't tell us specifically how school uses are applied within this framework. That's going to be part of how the zoning is kind of updated after this. But curious to kind of pick your brains for what you think about that.
Yeah, I guess I'm not, it's kind of a more of my opinion, but I'm thinking as we're getting to these blended residential typologies and potentially adding more density to an area and that starts to be into schools that may already be in capacity. So how, I guess I'm wondering how density shifts start to affect things like schools and.
Right. That's a great question. You know, in terms of the effects of density shift in the city, I think just based on kind of high level, we the ISP as part of our review. They haven't provided, in terms of like what that looks like, how many additional schools that they see, because they have the projection data that we provided them, but they haven't provided anything in terms of like what the.
Yeah,
That'd be interesting. Since you can have the, by 45.
Right.
Yeah, that obviously there's gonna be a certain load of children that will be within that.
Right.
well, and back to the equity question, it's becoming more and more apparent how the equity shifts are affecting schools too. So just, it's not anything that I'm asking you to answer at this moment, I guess,
Yeah.
but how schools are being thought about as.
That's a great question. I'm gonna ask you a question to our review committee. I think it's huge.
In house, we have schools that are not, and we have schools that are beautiful.
Because everybody wants to move to one school, right, exactly.
And traditionally impact those school districts and cities, they don't, they really
They
don't.
don't talk.
They don't,
I know.
they don't plan together.
I know.
Yeah, it really is.
Lawrence, this one thing for, I don't understand, like, look at Linden within the traditional, Linden, kind of is like the development pattern of rewards too. The elevators, whatnot, the smaller scale, and the traditional, for the single family. The big difference between the two realistically is, Linden is a little bit more pedestrian street permitted generally. You know, back in 1920, they didn't have the 2-car, 3-car garage, things like that, so. One of the issues I'm concerned about is if we blend the two together, we have little neighborhoods like say South Dallas, the landscape, houses are built, no garage at all. They're street limited. Do they become obsolete and they have to be modernized, or do you get what I'm saying? So it's a tough one. It's not all the same. I mean, it's some of it back and forth to some of the that's where the preservation is. And how does that preservation element, should I say, is there value to homes that is sort of example of that?
I think it's address what you're talking about. So, observation rating perspective. In addition to the future land use map that we're going to be showing here, we have a layer of observation historic districts. That's just enforced that these areas are changing, that nature of research. To the urban design kind of elements that we have for each of the place types. Even when they come together and be identified that were urban here, post-war versus the back working as well, kind of show exactly how those areas should be developed over time.
So that way you have a relay, what we're and all limited. And we can keep that same pattern without it feeling like it's obsolete.
You should be able to have two sets of urban design rules.
And the fact that we're going to be doing
Smaller, right here, closer to the street, all that. I mean, there's like a pedestrian rating. Yeah, one yard that may east house back. Yeah, right. Right, they are different, right?
cool. So the next thing we have on the screen is our state residential. This one also has two different scales that we call that. So city residential is more dense residential development, think about mid high-rise multifamily, also townhomes, duplexes, part of that as well. The mix that exists in here, but the focus is so you can still have, a mid-rise on the bottom, so you have similar development type, but this includes not just a building sector, different types of uses that exist, but it's predominantly higher density residential. When you're close to the core, the urban core needs to manifest itself as towers. We also know Dallas speak more about the 5 to 6 story house. So what we're trying to do, what we might be doing with this update of this document is maybe showing those two different ideas of versions, so you understand that depending on the scale of the location, that manifests itself differently, but it's still embodying the same type of.
I think that's important, like, you try to firstly remind me of.
Right.
Then we said North Dallas, that was more like, you know, I have North Dallas, redevelopment. Okay, that's where.
All right, so now we're gonna start to kind of shift toward our mixed use placements. So we just talked about more residential focus. All these have a mix of uses generally, but they have a primary focus. So the mixed use as well, also those are going to be existing on the walls, the windows. So this is a neighborhood mixed use, the lower scale type of mixed use, either field or a place that kind of serves the community. So this is kind of where you can go to either Dollar General or kind of smaller type of retail or node that has those uses to serve the community. They can walk to. It's not meant to serve those outside of the community, but it's more neighborhood education. So this is where small commercial strips and centers help provide that as a low mix of density here. Residential is the GC dispersed with this particular site. Community mixed use is going to be one of the areas that definitely needs some love. So when we talk about community mixed use, think about the L, the scale and density. So we talked about earlier the commercial or mixed use. The next scale up is more thinking about the greenfield next scale of community mixed use that attracts a lot more people, not just locally, but also those outside. In terms of the uses that exist here, similar to what we talked about before, more commercial, more office, more retail, and it's concentrated usually on nodes or corridors in the city. And then the next scale, the highest scale of mixed use that we have in the city is the regional mixed use. Think of the Galleria. That includes some of the type of office towers. There's still that's part of that supporting use. Usually it's densest kind of commercial office outside the city core. And this is usually accessed either typically through the way that how the city does it, either through a lot of high frequency roads or transit. So this is where the RS towers, multi-family also exists. This is also that place where we see some institutional uses appear, like smaller schools or smaller colleges, for example, that embodies that particular place. And then I guess the highest level mixed use is going to be our city center, downtown, parts of Oakland. This is the densest part of the city, which has the most mix of uses, heavily reliant and focused on transit, also focusing on the historic nature of the city. This is the one unique part of the city where we understand and see basically how we come about from our origins. So I think if we look at this particular place type, typically think about CE or Central Business District, and I think of the more financial aspects of Walmart's business. What we want, we've heard from the residents here that they want this to also be a neighborhood. And think about how does this neighborhood get developed? How do we think about mixed use, pedestrian oriented, and being able to still access open space in this particular place? We have three more. So institutional purpose. This is where you have a larger campus like Vanderbilt, Parkland, UNC Dallas. These are more master plan institutions that outside of the city of Dallas, and it's really more intense in terms of the density that you do around where it is. So typically UNC Dallas, that core node of that activity has a mix of housing, has a mix of offices, has a mix of different types of facilities in there, but it's still kind of self-hopeless in the community. So itself and its whole anchor the community to back to that experience. The last two, the flex commercial, we're talking about. This is the one that's getting a lot of love from the community. So this flex commercial has had multiple iterations. Initially, it was embodying this kind of light industry, warehouses, and that particular type of those types of uses. The community has told us multiple times that they want to transition away from these areas, away from kind of warehouse provider, something that's more dynamic, something that can provide more opportunity for growth and commerce, and even design moving forward. So this is basically that place type that provides that buffer between probably heavily industrialized places. It's something that's transitioning away to something that's more closer to the design district we see.
That's the ability. It's almost like another three words you kind of do. Right out of the press, the ability to purpose something else. What I've seen in the design district. Go ahead and it's also that as well.
Exactly. It go back to the places we have here. So the design district now, and moving forward, is going to be within a community mixed use type of place. So it's coming down through this plus commercial phase, and now it's kind of more defined for community mixed use. But some people want to have their other, I guess, less industrial sites that aren't really helpful, that they call their community transition to what the district was, also the ultimately what those districts are now in terms of that mix of uses. And lastly, our industrial hub. This is the heaviest of manufacturing industry that we have. It's usually where many polluters reside. Because we know that, what we've done through our place map is try to identify two things. Where in the city those should be contained and how we're operating that particular place type other parts of the city. So in an industrialized city like the US, it's important that we have these types of uses or places that help us eat and kind of get clothes and etc. This is just part of every functioning city. But what's critical that we haven't addressed in our plan so far in the past is where the kind of just kind of let it happen naturally. And that's been really detrimental to a lot of communities in the city. And that's ultimately kind of gone to what we're doing now and starting to kind of show that on the map and play with the juxtaposition of effects what that means moving forward and how we're doing this from the other side. It's trying to analyze different metrics that exist from the combination of land uses, for example, PMCs that exist from the combination of land uses, housing affordability of access, kind of, I think, walkability, and a few other measures that we're measuring based on the changes in land use. That's going to be our consultants to help us do this. So that is kind of part two of a kind of breakdown. We're going to kind of hopefully get an understanding of what we mean and how we're going to be interfacing this into this plan. Okay, great. Everybody okay? Make sure that I'm just going to qualify.
Before we answer you, framework. What is the next ER change?
Yes, what's next?
Yeah. What kind of feedback would you like that?
Yes, we're going to do the next few slides. I'm going to basically show how you're going to be providing input into these boards. Each of these boards have urban design elements. So it has a list of elements including streetscape, buildings, parking, and open space. We want you also read those comments, see if those make sense. If they don't make sense, don't like them, put it up and say this is not. And basically write a comment from how you change that. If it does make sense, put a read that, and then basically identify where on the illustration you can best represent that that particular element. So I'm going to show slides of how we do that. That's kind of the next few slides talking through those elements are, and then how we're going to be using this exercise.
So why don't we go through the next two slides and the exercise will be over. Right. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yes. Of course. Yeah.
I think yes.
I mean, kind of putting back in a really broad way.
Right.
It doesn't look like a city in the middle of the
Right.
it doesn't look like a city of funding program. It looks like a national city from the 50s where everyone had grass and wine. I know that you will know that that's not what it is, but industry makes it look like that's what we want it to be, but I didn't think the conclusions of that. So, I think that it's a lot very much to do with.
So I think we look at the images, maybe with all these images, maybe if I look more zero-state in nature, maybe think about what would adding this vegetation here mean? I mean, maybe because it's not my friend on the other side of the private sector, they say these are basically communities like you have like a sewer system, you have all these things like helping to feed just the grass. What does that mean for us long term? So I think that's a perfect comment and please
Similarly, there are a lot of things that are that appear on communities. Programs like billboards and parking lots and for multiple big flags. And the other thing that also
no, right.
the that brings people into
Right. Not necessarily. Yes, it's like from the model they have more prevention to these drugs that they ideas. So I generally want to get from a team perspective, just also because we're citywide. I think it's going to be hard to get some of the new shit, but I think it do make sense in terms of like if we're going to zoom into some part of the city that's having people that have some.
well, the next step is going to show them that they can eliminate what's there just to change it.
Right, that's probably a model, just because I think the more detail you add, the harder it is to kind of bring these particular items. But this is actually one model that they kind of like to piece of it kind of later, but I can ask to see if we can have more issues next.
Sorry. Yeah, one question that, not a question, but just a comment is, in a lot of these, you said, this is sort of town, yeah, and I think for a person that's gonna come in and understand this, it would be great if they were like, very photos of that part of town, where it goes with this to help convey that, because you know, it's worth 1,000 words, and these are graphics, like, a picture of like, what this stretch corridor, like, that's the expectation, one of these, beneficial and how you're describing it. If somebody walks in and goes, well, this is what we think, and there's examples like this in the house.
Your packets also have a little some of those places that exist in the city, Dallas examples of each of those types, not just rendering, but as an example, maybe where it's located in the city. So when we print this out, we want to kind of show that this is responsible because we're going to be getting on that as it applies to consultants updates. So hopefully that helps with tying in the more contextual examples of these.
Specifically, sorry, I'm not getting too much information. The perspective is that what you're talking about specifically, so that the image that you see matches from the perspective of this.
Yeah, so much.
Exactly.
Instead of just like street view.
Yes, okay.
Or I think it's so important what you're trying to convey, that you're trying to move the city from suburban form to urban form.
Yeah. Yes, I absolutely.
Yes, sorry.
First of all, I think you do a great job presenting this.
Thank you.
I was thinking that my first most of the time more down game feedback from it, that was the office in you mentioned that. And maybe it's not part of it, but walking is the problem, right? Walking that is the problem. I know it is a problem, but as recommendation, if you guys can focus on it and include that guidance on how to balance marketing versus development, it will go a long way in convincing everybody else that what changes are needed. I don't think that's really what is needed, but we all know that. That is what's holding the design district back.
because the current zone, I argue basically kills a lot of jobs. But that might be a big opportunity. Feedback, if it can be incorporated somehow, in the board rounds, and so that other departments will basically jobs. Second thing is that it's all this, I would love for the focus on the river.
Yeah.
And I don't see it in any of this, how, like, there can be some, in my mind, that is very important to be at the base time, what is being done along, what can be done, and I don't see that, I wish that Dallas would focus on the river and embrace it, instead of, there's nothing in that. There was some of the comments on. I'm telling you this is what when I see the child when they come in, it happens a lot. For example, when they can now. And 9 out of 10 times, we know that the numbers are cost of course, especially that they can happen. So that is why I'm so focused on that. And then the responding was almost based on what we're driving. A lot of times I also see staff that gets caught up is there's a lot of excess labor capacity in different roles, especially in Southern Dallas. 60-year-olds in residential neighborhoods, you don't really need them. If they get you guys that pay, this is how people will say, convert that into a bigger extra wide sidewalk. But I understand items very easy to manage format for the staff. They don't feel comfortable taking a step and say, oh, sure, let's take these places and convert that into public space. So I see that a lot of different projects.
I think the piece about parking in open space, and each of these, we're going to touch on this pretty briefly, has a section about parking. So if you look at the city residential place, if you read what's in about parking open space, I think parking had parking feedback to like what we can add to this language to make these places and what they should be from the perspective.
Yeah, and this is the thing, for example, this is if 5 months along, so I see that one example, there's a lot of optional in this city residential. So it was part of it, it's not part of it. Maintenance, who does it, who takes the long-term maintenance, that's it, very fancy streetscape project in the Light District. And we are given a lot of money, well, where is that? I mean, it's better that enforces the maintenance. I don't know. I'm assuming there's somewhere, but it's enforced or not, like somebody does that stuff. So, if we say that we can do that, my question would be, well, we don't forget the maintenance part.
That was actually something that was on the form, which was initially, and maybe there basically said, focusing on one part of the city, not on others. And we'll be further forms that we want to be equitable to that focus. So I think we try to be a bit more general. I think going back to what you said, like that's the key asset that we should be able to that we can go back to that mission. Because of that major smart in the city level and that
Actually, honestly, started to use the music results as the beginning of it. I'm it's pretty much under your floodplain, and it started those larger creating places. Even though it's not a programming park per se, it's still very important, even if it's not perfect. So Parks Park again, they can only do so much because they have just cut it back to we have green spaces that frankly are not very developable per se, or they don't have a issue myself. Sometimes they outweigh sometimes there's an economic benefit that outweighs the environmental. We have to really establish the environmental benefit, right? Outweighs the benefit. prioritization maps that TCAP had as far as
just that theme like throughout the entirety of the project and how it's so.
just a quick comment, just a thought that would help provide more useful feedback.
Okay.
Is if we could be provided just a draft of this land use plan and also overlay, all our transit corridors, our big streets, so light rail, TRE, silver line, and the efficient local connection for those things along with the loop rail networks. I think that would help us kind of zero in on specific areas where there may be unique opportunities that can shift.
Yeah, good point. So I think the play document we have the draft version, we actually have planning district. So it has these streets, it has nodes, it has trails, it has districts. So you can understand how a district feels, or we're trying to understand from a high level. That's going to come in that repeat too. That's going to be part of the plan document. So we're looking at the land use that exists. Another layer is how does those urban design, those corridors as landmarks and build it up and provide for future place. And also too that another layer is different elements of here within the place size, how is the design informing that forms. Within that too, after this meeting, just make sure that everyone has that as well. We would intervention out, we keep that out, look at it, documents there. So I can also do that if that's helpful.
Yeah, that would be great. I'm just thinking about, a lot of the projects that we review in here. I think one of the recent examples was in South Dallas near UNT. And we're looking at this really nice street corridor that goes through, but the designer had no idea that was there. And we're talking about how the street that works.
Well, I think that's a good point. I think going back to kind of the emphasis of this exercise is less about technical. Because we can to that, but we're trying to get like these building blocks. How do we refine these building blocks to make sense to apply in the parts of the city? So I think contextual makes sense because we mentioned the parts of the city could apply traditional residential differently than other parts of the city. So I think
That's the comment that I would have. It's just difference between traditional and blended residential, which is community residential. It's about 70% of our cities. We're going to add significantly increased population. I feel like these show the standard, and we're staying with the standard of what those neighborhoods are. There's been a discussion of neighborhoods that your neighborhood has to change over the years and needs to increase density. Like the concern that I see with these two right here, it is what it is now. So how do we start to make these look slightly more aggressive with density, more density? We need to change like this middle housing, quads and duplexes and things like that. And
100%. I think that's exactly the rationale for putting it together. Because most people live in residential, they feel kind of protected from density, and what they do is they have the description that we're actually adding all that density to the site. So they look at the name and say, okay, we want to keep that good, but we're actually adding more density everywhere, so we're actually combining it, make it clear that this is not status quo residential, it's a community residential, depending where you are. It's a little different. These are going to hopefully be updated like that too. So that you provide comments, you can add that comment about maybe add more density here, maybe the types of units, all that stuff that we can use to kind of update those graphics.
One more minute.
No,
any roofs that don't have any sun protection. They, you know, they're not like how people have their living more it's oh my gosh.
Right, no, I'll kind of maybe describe how we got here and kind of where we're trying to go. So as we started the conversation about these lay types, we started with just kind of rendering. So we started with images of what's happening in the city. And that's basically kind of been guided by the community and being able to see. And it's all kind of sort of and you don't scare people. You know what? This is all wrong. It's not an actual like revelation of what these are. So definitely you got that feedback from our community, you got that from council members to push the limit on this through the renderings, through the text, and we'll be the ones to determine how these can come back or not. So you're represented by the line for everybody else. Right. That makes sense.
So recess windows would be nice, right?
Right.
That's a limitation. That's what we want.
It's the major providing too much detail for it to be unspecific, but not enough for it to be specific.
Yeah, but
So we have so 2 more slides and it's an exercise, okay? All right, so like I mentioned before, the urban design component of Fort Dallas, and what we're looking at here is kind of two main aspects of it. One is the urban framework, talking about how nodes, landmarks, districts kind of play together to create places that we have in the city through the map. Then we have the urban form elements that we have in the city. So that's going to be what going to be helping us to refine, tweak, and develop through these place-side graphics. So the example that we're going to be looking at is on the screen where we have the streetscape, parking, building, space. Again, this is an example of what we're looking to develop. The plan document is starting to identify specifically for each place type how streetscape, parking, building form, open space should be addressed and developed over time. This is usually more for those the person who can really understand these concepts and want to see visually what that means. I think that all the comments we're hearing so far about this should be future setting, visionary. When we look at all those comments here, so they can kind of see how those urban form elements are applied on the particular plan document moving forward. So what does that mean for today? So we're going to talk about the exercise. Okay. So everybody's going to be going about looking at these boards. There are 12 place-side boards that are going to have enough space to take time to investigate why feedback. What we want you to do is look at these boards. Is one, sort of those design elements that exist on the left side of the board. Talking about street space, buildings, parking, open space. Those are the categories we have so far. There are others that come to mind. There's another space that's called just what's missing. We had that split, so we want to be able to not just say the components we have here, but you're all experts on your feedback in terms of even these categories, what additional categories should be added to help form urban design elements on these boards. So first thing we're going to do as we walk through these boards, you're going to have your red and green stickers. So as you read these elements, what we're asking is, put a green dot by one that makes sense in text. If you're going to count one that doesn't make sense, it needs changing, put a red dot by that, so we can rapidly see which ones kind of right to the top, what should be for our team to kind of refine and tweak the language. And as you put a green dot by any of those items on the left side, we also ask that you also put a green dot on the image that exists in the graphic of the board. So as you come here, you read the board, you like to put idea number one, streetscape, put a green dot by there. It also helps us identify how we, where in the illustration can we represent that graphically on here as well. So as you look at streetscape, for example, it's number one. put a green dot there for number one that helps kind of connect the particular light to the number that we have inside. We'll have staff kind of help kind of inform how we're doing that as we do the conversation. So as we do the board, you know, I can provide comments with any additional elements that you think should be added. You can either write on the blank space at the bottom or in the sticky note that we have as well. There's kind of talk through that. So if there's elements that you don't like, you look at a text or element that doesn't make any sense, put a red dot by it, and then also to want to elaborate on what that is about. So get a sticky note or to write on the blank space down here about what you would change, you would add, what's missing. That will help us understand how it should be updated or tweaked that specific item. And the process is usually from the top to the bottom, and then go from left to right as you go through the board. So as you read the particular elements up top here, it's going to come up slow from top to bottom and then left to right. If you put it in provided. So that is the last overview of what we're going to talk about today. Myself, Rick, John, first we're going to bring up stuff, or you go for these to go. Definitely.
Yes, those. You mentioned at the beginning of our discussion, and you highlighted the fact that in the state of Texas, we have to go by zoning and not by form-based rules.
Right. So yeah, so land use. Land use we're doing here, we're talking about the future land uses that city of in the city. Land use complex cannot be used to enforce what should happen on the property. That's what zoning does. So it's another tool.
Form-based.
Yeah. Yeah, form-based code is zoning. So in 2006, we had yes, it's actually part of the zoning ordinance. So you can basically assign a particular part of the city as a zoning category that's form-based in nature. It's still a zoning category.
Okay, I'm asking this because the video launch and the exercise that are Friday and there were several points about the nature of images. We understand that these images were generated by a program with the viewings and images. So it doesn't exactly all together. So the real challenge is going to be going from here to implementation. That is the critical part. And how to implement and how to earlier on the question of enforcement. How to make sure that we go from region to some place it's city policy, right?
Yes, I can tell you from 2006, we are on plan, but we didn't have was the zoning. So her zoning policy actually goes back to the 60s. Yes. So even when the city do this, looks great, we're going to do this 100% once. We don't update the policy tool that follows right after that. This is actually useless. Honestly, it's going to move that vision forward. So that's why I'm saying that when we are completing this in 2024, we're actually going to do this one starting now to update the zoning. If we use this language, so basically when the development comes in, it's referencing that updated zoning code. That's kind of how we're going to
do you guys believe that 2024 will include, or how are we going to improve the zoning-based document elements we have discussed here, such as shading, alignment, form? How do you envision that all of that beyond what we're seeing here can be incorporated into zoning?
Right. So I think the base that you just mentioned, we actually, although we have it, we rarely use it. Yeah. So I think as we update this, as the zone consultant comes being able to figure out ways to use that pretty good form-based code and use that within our actual code and then figure out about it. Because right now, when people come in, they use keys as the default language. And don't know that you just use a form-based code that actually has all that stuff out for you already. That's not crafted every time. So you can't really get a form-based so that it exists. Maybe for all the cases that we see each year in pricing, maybe every 2 years I see one form-based zoning code application. Yeah, I don't see any, to be honest, that's because I don't know about it. I think that's the piece that we
Okay, so form-based and new zoning, we eliminate the and allow for division that you guys are crafting with feedback, right? Community and all that, right? So,
I say this get when the zoning concept, I don't think it eliminates the OPDs. Whatever
yes.
But you're trying to prevent new ones.
Yeah, every PD is its own like law. So it means that yeah. After all this is done, zoning reform gets done, they'll either kind of they grandfather what we talked about consultant is doing an analysis of those PDs and trying to figure out how do you connect that link to a particular zoning category and you have to connect it across connected. That's going to be a
it is full of the district. Let's people about which one does. People 17 on every people.
yeah. So understand like that connection because it's so complicated. Like there's going to be some brand quality occur. So it's basically it might be this wire. So those pieces that stay the same, and just we push the new zoning codes that certain areas we say, hey, let's not use PDs in a certain geography or size. It has to be X amount of square footage to be a PD. For any zoning category.
One acre, goes to, one area. Somebody from after this is all done, somebody comes in there, it's not going to build. You have to default 183 unless the city's willing to go back. That's the same. You do 183 for baselines.
And that's basically what
That's
that's what the consultant will be looking at to see like if we were to do that for all PDs, let's say they write on the current funding, it's time to do that analysis and a quick overview of that change. That PD is another whole project that hopefully council funds. So it's gonna take a lot of time, but I think moving that way will work.
You're never gonna get that to this. But because you're asking us to proceed language, we assume that whoever is going to be reading this is familiar with all of these terms and planning and all that stuff.
Right, so if we're doing this,
Okay.
so that's also be part of the document.
Okay.
Explaining why, what these are,
Okay.
we'll find this, so staff, community at large, designers, all user side of things are going to basically fully understand what's going on. So that will also kind of define things. Yeah.
maybe assume that the people who are working on that zoning ordinance, that the component in there might talk about the attributes that come out of the science. Then possibly the landowners that own those parts of the PD would go in for a rezoning case for regular zoning if they can prove how they are going to redo and use the attributes of the new plan.
That's actually two things that happen after this is adopted. We can identify certain parts of the city that should be rezoned. And that rezone should be initiated by the CPC or council. So we have area that was PD, that gets to go to something that's delivered. Also, two other developers as well, in the PDs coordinate, us to say, hey, what do you need, whatever, yeah, we change the base of the data. So that's something that happens too. We know that's gonna be probably to kind of quickly get some of these inequities kind of clarified. City authorized on even that happen. Also to come in the market city too as well. It's gonna take a bit more time, but it's gonna become
Property owner, and the roll out of the city.
that's
Before we break it, is there any opportunity for the panel to- There's two spreads in here. I think also sent to you earlier that are today that we had a chance to talk about.
Right.
Just basically, talk about the base for the lower design component of the plan. Again, for the lower design principles. Is there a way for the panel to provide input on that if they so desire today or afterwards?
yeah, so you open up the page that says video design, has a detail in the background. That is basically a snapshot of our urban design spreads. So they actually spread first goals, objectives, the items, actually requiring to see that page is different. But if you read it, providing comments on that, zero yourself. I also make a PDF to you all in the future, one of my comments that way. But yes, we love to get this model. I wasn't sure how much time we had, but if you want to do that today, we can.
Yeah, I mean, today might be hard, but certainly if anybody's willing to, interested enough to read through those two spreads, especially the principles, I think, and providing input, I think we're right. It's something that the super helpful. I think this is the principles that we kind of have foundations for. But the argument is, I think, people develop for design guidelines as far as the city, for instance, they'll develop something that will kind of follow those principles. The principle can be guided first.
That's a great point. I would say that as kind of this workshop, if you could take this home and look at these spreads and provide comments to our students. And this is going to be the core based on how to set up our urban design guidelines for the city. So that as you see these cases, I'm going to use our I'd rather you kind of read those pages. That would be very helpful for us. The language instead of stating for citywide guidance. So we are ready to go. So you can have your notes, you have your stickers. Just so we have reviews, boards. We'll do actually questions and words. You get really all right. It's on stickers. So we're going to make sure that it's slightly more to do yes. The repeating
So,
Oh, it's distracting. I don't know if people throw that.
I think Arturo went outside because I think you can control it from there. Well, there you go.
yeah. Oh,
That was easy.
I didn't know. I didn't know. It's good. Not too much. You're good. Yeah, yeah.
Open that up.
Yeah.
Everybody's showing, and it's to, you know, should be something that is close to. But I'm wondering if rather than dig examples can just like,
Yes, we actually talked to different approaches in the community. So what we did, we said, for example, best practices in other parts of the city. We'll say like that is
because I was thinking even if it's.
So that's what we're, I think what we're doing is like rendering what generally we want, but like whole other areas of other cities, because the city of Dallas doesn't embody all well. Let's find a way to kind of like show what we can be instead of being stuck into our. So that's a great thing too. You know?
Yeah, we have perhaps over together conceptual city. They will,
Right, right. Yeah, that's a great point. I think having imagery is one thing. I think having some example cities is a good thing, and also better like illustrative, like this is how it can be.
Absolutely, it's helpful for people that are as well to see that it can be done.
I guess.
Yeah, it's not something that we're saying. It's a favor being able to try it. It's acceptable.
Makes sense. So yes, and so we kind of come up with what we wanted the consultant to help render, and then they kind of took that those ideas and they modeled it and came back to the conversation for so we told them what to put in there and then went into the built it. So yeah, good times.
So did you say a lot of people or residents, they leaning towards more of an urban walkability type style? So we heard about accommodation actually.
It depends where. So it depends where they do. So typically the younger population, they either live outside the core or live outside of the city core. They want to see more dense development because probably don't afford or can afford like larger blocks of so be able to be a small place to access all of the amenities to kind of these enjoyable aspects of place. That's what we're hearing from that perspective. And even in the older population, I know neighbors who've been in a traditional residential place for 40 years, they're looking to move out to Bishop Arts because it provides an accessibility. They can walk around. They feel like where they are now, they can't access all the other things. And they're getting older, and they don't want to be able to have to like drive everywhere. That's one thing that we're hearing from them. Third, there are some people who live in single family neighborhoods that want to kind of keep their kind of place the same, but every part of the city can't stay the same, especially from the workability perspective. If you can kind of keep those large swaths of land in one little kind of house there, that's one issue kind of limits the amount of it makes the land property more expensive. So I heard the candidate like it's been
We're housing costs so crazy, right? So what would you say is
so the things are from a land use perspective is to perspective. So land, so square piece of land, right? And you can put like one house on it. And say 20 people wanted to live in that house, that one house becomes more expensive. It's 20 pieces. It's still part of that, but you can still have your policy. So what we're doing with all these place types is allowing more mix of uses and more opportunity to develop just one single use, but multiple uses that allows for more flexibility and more opportunity for hopefully lower costs. So
the space that be converted to commercial.
for more so instead of just go people exactly last thing where you can house more because people are actually just whatever you want.
Yeah,
All the uses are actually saying that every part of the city fit off with that kind of mix of use. So we can have more housing, so we can incorporate 300,000 people into the city. But also too, it's important to talk about housing department. When you have dense, when you have density, because more people want a small piece of land, that also so they like kind of like open it because they make well and when you have more dense, but all that is actually more expensive. So they are actually looking at opportunities to kind of develop whole green space into different places. Supplement what we do. It's kind of like it's very bad. Different things. Add more housing, so they can add more expensive. But all sounds good. Yeah, you can do that. Land. More convenient, it's pretty not entertaining out there. So I mean, you're like, you know, do you want to have more homeless people, or do you want to have more people in housing that probably are not owning land or owning homes, but are still being housed? So it's
To be able to find that sweet spot where we can offer more home, it's going to be like where it's like
exactly. So that when we have more flexibility, what you can do, then you can kind of adapt to the market, you know, based on what's happening right now in the city of Dallas, and even the country. Like single family land uses or zoning is very prohibited. So being able to allow mix of uses helps with that too as well.
like a high-rise building, you can't really own a property.
And you could own a condo. You could own it, but like it's pros and cons. Like you own the unit, but maybe you something like that.
You a physical space.
People are okay with that. If they own that, they still kind of generate